All right.
Live.
We're live. Let's hold off a couple minutes here. You see the right-hand side, right, Preston and Amy? Pat, you guys see the right-hand side?
Hello.
Mm-hmm. All right, perfect. All right, let's wait a minute. We'll start. When do you guys want to start? 4:01 or 4:02? What do you think?
4 is my lucky number. I do 4:04. Do you have, can you see that, Preston?
Yeah.
We're going way back. This is back in prop tracker days or manage my short sale days. What is this?
Oh, it's all of it. Financial health coach days. Are you kidding?
It's going way back.
That's 2004 and 5.
I know. Naples, Florida. That's where I met
Right.
Pat the first time.
Naples,
Right.
Right. All right. We can let's just wait here. Let's just wait another 30 seconds and then we'll go live here. I mean, we are live, but we'll go with
Live now.
Sean, can I be here?
We have Sean in here. Hey, Sean. So we got some folks jumping in. I get to see it. So.
How you doing?
I don't see squat on my side.
Yeah, we got a ton of people in here, and the numbers just keep shooting up. So we'll go another minute, maybe, because it just keeps flying up. So let's keep sitting here for just a second, that way nobody misses anything juicy.
Very nice. How many cups of coffee so far, Pat?
Dude, you know what? It's funny because I just went down and got more water. Trey's like, "You're all right." I'm like, "What? I don't look okay?" Because I've had so much fucking coffee up to now, you know. Yeah, I'm a little wound up as it is, you know.
I'm going to start the Cheetos soon. I don't know about the coffee, but Tony says, "Hey." David Fair says, "Who's Bob Lachance?"
What's up, brother? What's up? Oh, Pat, is Pat's name showing Bob Lachance as well, or I don't know.
We got Sean. Yes, your faves. Lots of people. Hey, Steven. We got some people just jumping on here. Hold on. Let me. Oh boy, it's still going up.
All right, cool. Yep, I can see it jumping.
Very cool. I'm glad everybody could pull away from their shelter and stay.
That's right.
Place, whatever it's called, for a moment.
Pulling away from homeschooling the kids right now. I love it, right?
Pulling away from homeschooling, day drinking, and lots of other webinars and conferences everywhere, right? I have a lot of our agents who are doing tons and tons of CE and designation classes right now. Like they're taking advantage of this time to grow their skills, and it's pretty cool.
That's right. All right, you want to get rocking and rolling?
Let's bring it.
Do it.
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, thank you everybody for jumping on this call. I know you guys are all busy, like we were just talking about. Many of you guys are looking at the clock saying it's 4 o'clock and it's almost 5 o'clock somewhere. So please hold off. We have another hour before you crack open the first cold one. If you want to have a virtual cocktail after this call, I'm in. I know Pat's in. I know Amy's in, but let's definitely hold off. But for those of you who know me, I don't really like a lot of small talk. We like getting into, the real deal and the purpose why we asked each and every one of you to get to this call. First of all, my name is Bob Lachance. I own a company called REVA Global. Been in business for 6 years. It's a virtual assistant company. We offer trained real estate virtual assistants. But that's a little bit about me. Started investing back in 2004. But a lot of other stuff we've done since then. Pat and Amy, I'll introduce them in a minute. We're going way back. We've known each other for a long, long time. But let's just start with the purpose of this call. So the main purpose of this call is to get everyone together to give solutions to our businesses. We all do know we're in a very, very uncertain time right now in all of our real estate professionals, whether we're agents, whether we're investors, property managers, it doesn't matter. We're all in this together. I think there's only one industry that is flourishing right now, and my buddy owns 2 supermarkets, and we could say they're not going through challenges, but they are. They're going through challenges because they need more what, Pat? Toilet paper. They need more. No, they got it. They need more toilet paper and they need more paper towels. Why that is off the charts and getting sold right away, I don't know, but let's just go with it. But anyway,
Bob, you know what other 2 industries are flourishing? Liquor stores and CBD outlets, right? They're freaking crushing it right now.
Okay, and I have to add one because I have a friend. Listen, I have to add one so that all the online traffic is crazy, right? So one of my friends who owns an Amazon reseller business, they're up 3,800% in sales this month over every month in their 3-year history.
Wow, it's awesome.
Wow, that's incredible. So like I said, the purpose of this, again, is to give solutions to all of our businesses right now in a time of certainty. We also want to, for those of you guys who know all three of us, we love giving strategical and tactical plans to some challenges that all of us are facing. So we are all coaches by nature. We're business owners. We love to give. We love to give content. This is no pitching. This is full content. So just so everybody knows. But I want to first start off by saying, we are all in this together, and I would highly recommend that you look at each other, you look at your sphere of influence, and start hanging out with the people that are positive and see things in a light of opportunity, if you will. I look at my sphere of influence. Pat is one of them. Amy's one of them. The last time we went through time of uncertainty was in 08 and 09, and that Pat, Amy, and I got together. We helped each other through it. So the takeaway of that is I would highly recommend, whether it's somebody on this call, whether it's somebody that you know through a different part of your community, whether it's one of us, I would definitely keep that sphere of influence to the positive side. If anyone's there that says, hey, the sky is falling, get rid of them, right? They're not going to help any of you, any of us get through any challenges that you're going to have. So anyway, I just want to touch upon that. But I want to introduce two individuals that I have known for over 15 years. I consider them to be two of my top friends in this, whole world, especially in the real estate environment that we're in. And they are both the top 1%, in my opinion, as far as investors, brokers, mentors, coaches as well. Pat Precourt, let me just give you a little rundown. For those of you who don't know Pat, I've known Pat since 2004. Pat was my original mentor. Actually, still one of my mentors, one of my buddies. I know I talk to Pat. Pat gets uncomfortable when I talk such good things about him, but Pat also has a soft heart. But one thing about Pat that I do know is that times of uncertainty, he has an uncanny ability to break down the most challenging of times into very easy and systematic ways to get out the other side and have a plan. I don't know how he does it, but he's just incredible. And I was business partners with Pat for a little over 10 years. Pat's done over 1,000 real estate transactions. He's an industry leader in personal development. He's success coached, I think, it could be off on my numbers, but over 800 members in the personal development space. Pat and I, we've also had the privilege of helping start and run a couple of coaching programs as well, which we're very, very proud of and fortunate of. I didn't know this, Pat. You're also co-author of a book. I didn't know that, dude. You got to send the book to me. And a bunch of other stuff. Pat, he's a lifestyle fitness, owns a lifestyle center, industry leader. And Pat, anything I miss?
That pretty much sums it up.
All right. That's a long list of stuff. All right, now Amy, I met in I think end of 2005. I could be wrong, but Amy's pretty much one of the most brilliant marketing minds you'll ever meet. You probably see her a lot on Instagram, social media, etc. I'm fortunate to have her as part of our team in REVA Global as our chief marketing officer. So thank you, Amy, for Amy's been in real estate for over 18 years, investor, buyer, rehabber, wholesaler, private money lender, you name it. She owns an incredible brokerage down in Atlanta called Powerhouse Real Estate. She's also a founder of Atlanta CRC and Collective Rise Campus, which is a shared work facility. Also an investor, coach, broker. She's got a bunch of coaching students. I do know that as well. Like I said, one of the most brilliant real estate and mentor minds out there. So with that being said, Amy, did I miss anything?
No, I feel really good right now. Thanks. I'm going to just record that and play that back every morning.
Very nice. All right, let's get right into it. I want to talk a little bit, Pat. This is you and I talked. I think it was 3 days ago. I could be wrong. It sometimes seems like Groundhog Day, right? When you get the kids up, and you got to homeschool them, all this kind of stuff, and do a real estate business. But we talked a couple of days ago about how people think and how people feel in times of uncertainty. And you did an exercise that I would love to have you do right now. And I recommend everyone take out a pen if you could. If you could go over that controllable, uncontrollable exercise, Pat, because I think it's great to set the stage.
And I want to tell everybody, truly take notes. Like, this is some game changer stuff that you need to go back and re-listen to or reread. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give a little context to it. It's kind of interesting. And I was just making note of this earlier today, that we're a society that is so ruthlessly addicted to reality TV, and at the same time so ruthlessly incapable of handling reality when it's dumped on our doorstep. And this situation, this circumstance is showing the weaknesses in our game. And that's kind of what Bob's talking about. There's a lot of people right now running around scared, that are in a state of fear on an ongoing 24/7 basis. And the second we go there, we're out of control. So fear, as well as any other elevated emotion, lies to us. It tends to make things worse than it is, just like elevated good emotions make things better than they are. And the idea here is to clear that stuff out, so that we can get back to a controllable state and make good, sound decisions. Because here's something I know for a fact, at least I think it to be true, that, well, seriously, the decisions we make over the next 30, 60, 90 days in this window of time, right, they are going to alter the trajectory that we're on in life for each of us as individuals. And for those of us, which is most of us, who are in a state of influence, whether it be in our own household or that we have a team around us or others that follow us in our tribe, right? We're now affecting them based on our decisions. And I'll share this with everyone, man. There's not a single person on this call that doesn't influence those around you. So now is the time we got to make a decision. It's not, do we influence it? Are we going to choose how we influence those, right? And I understand fear, and I understand chaos, and the word that Bob brought up, uncontrollable, because uncontrollable is one of the core roots of fear. When you have uncontrollable, unpredictable, and what we feel is an extended chronic state, when you put those three together, when it's uncontrollable, unpredictable, and chronic, it's very difficult for us to internalize that and find a state of peace. So we don't operate in that mode. I mean, that leads all levels of uncertainty in almost every area of our life. Now it's like, whoa, what do I do? And we wake up confused, scared, worried, anxiety, all of that stuff. And just so you guys can kind of connect the dots here, what happens internally, when we're when we're faced with fear, as an example, fear gets a bad rap like pain, right? There's no two better instructors we have in life than fear and pain, but they're there for a reason. When we're confronted with fear, like you're jogging down a trail and a big grizzly bear jumps out in front of you and rah, it's going to slice you in half, you get scared. It scares the shit out of you. And what that does internally, right, is our sympathetic nervous system kicks in, dumps all these chemicals in our body. It's like nitrous in a car engine. All of our adrenaline loads us up, becomes superhuman, so we can defend ourselves, save ourselves, get away, run real fast, outrun the big grizzly bear, right? That's what fear does for us. It gives us very, very clear vision in the moment, great insight. It rallies all of our forces to save us, protect us. But when we think ourselves into a state of fear, we're not in any physical threat. We're thinking about these circumstances that Bob mentioned were uncontrollable. We now find ourselves in a constant state of fear. Now imagine your everyday car, right, that you drive and you change the oil every 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 miles on it. Now picture if you dump nitrous oxide into that thing constantly, nonstop, all the time. Guess what? A few thousand miles later, that thing would blow up. That's what we're doing to ourselves internally right now, operating in a state of fear. And then, because we're all, we all talk about this coronavirus, this thing we're so afraid of. Well, guess what? The second we're in a constant state of fear and our adrenals are being overworked, we go into this adrenal fatigue, which starts breaking down our internal immune system. Now we're not even prepared to confront the virus that we're so afraid of when we get to it. And there's no way anyone can guarantee they're not going to be confronted with the virus. So I'm just trying to give you a little deeper insight how important what we're about to talk about is. You say, well, what does this have to do with real estate? I'm going to tell you what. Okay? I already told you, the decisions you make over the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 80, 90 days are going to affect you the rest of your life. And you got to be able to make the right decisions. The way you feel, follow me on this, the way you feel affects the way you think. Agreed, right? The way you think affects the decisions you make. The decisions you make affects the actions you take, and the actions you take will affect your ultimate outcome, the results you get in life. So the way you feel has a direct connection to the results you get. That's why it's so important to embrace this little discussion. Now, the The challenge here is the uncontrollable. I'm going to watch as we go to this little exercise and how we regain control. That's probably the most important part. And I'll share this one thing with you. You want immediate control now. One of the things that's driving us nuts internally is that we're all ripped out of our routines on a daily basis. They're gone and blown up, and we are creatures of routine. We love routine. We may not even admit it, but we're creatures of habit, and we love routine. We do things the same way every day. That's how we operate. And we do that because there's too many decisions to be made on a daily basis, and our mind understands that, so it gets really, really efficient. And things that we do every day, day after day, we automate. So we don't have to think about them in a conscious mind. The body knows better than the mind. It's done at a subconscious level. Now we blow up those routines, and every day we're like, shit, I don't even know how to put on my pants now because I haven't thought about that in a while, right? We got to make decisions that we haven't made in a long, long time. Well, one of the quickest ways to regain some sanity back in our lives is get back to the exact same routine you had last month. Get up at the same damn time. Follow your same morning routine. If you shower, hop in the shower. You know, if you eat breakfast, meditate, do whatever you do, even if you don't have to drive the kids to school at 7 o'clock, that's fine, right? But get back into your routine. And I know that, well, I'll share something. I know this is a little petty. Just give me a little space here, right? I'm walking down the street the other day. I see this dude, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, walking this kid in a stroller. And he's in his freaking Mickey Mouse freaking pajamas in the middle of the day, in the middle of the public. I'm like, have a little self-respect, son. Put on your damn clothes, right? He's out of his routine. Because we get this set. It's almost like when we go on vacation, we change. A lot of us are operating like we're in this weird, different world right now, but we're not. Now I want to get serious for a second. We're not. We're in the same damn world. And here's the thing. Right now, this virus is here. What we don't know is how long it's going to be here. So stop fighting that. Stop trying to put a timestamp on it like, oh, we'll be done by June, or we'll be done by July, or we'll be done by August, right? Understand that this is our current reality, and your plan, your strategy, like Bob was talking about, should be based on these circumstances, not on the someday, somewhat circumstances that might come sometime in the future. The second we go there, we're back to trying to control something we can't control. Now, here's the exercise. Pull out a sheet of paper, like Bob and Amy suggested. Put a line across the top and one right down the middle, right? And then start out across the top of what I am, put across the top, and then on the left, write in control of, and on the right, put not in control of. What I am in control of and what I am not in control of. And start with what I'm not in control of. This is important, okay? Write down everything in our lives right now that we're not in control of. Now, of course, there's going to be things like the weather, right? Of course, there's going to be things like the virus, how long it's going to last. Of course, it's going to be things like stupid things our presidents say on a daily basis. Put them down. And you may laugh at that one, right? But you know how many people are arguing on Facebook about things the president says or doesn't say, about who's right and who's wrong and who should be blamed? These are all things that are not in our control. And they should be on that list. People, what they think, feel, and say on their own, put that on that list, because you ain't changing the way somebody thinks or feels or acts. Not happening. Put that on that list, right? And make a very big list of everything you can't control. Now, more on the left. Write a list of everything you can control, right? Don't filter it. Don't prejudge it. Just write everything down that you can possibly think of. And here's what's neat about this list is at the end of it, you'll be able to put everything on that list into one of three buckets. One bucket is, it'll fall in, this has to do with the way I think, this has to do with the way I feel, and this has to do with the way I'm acting. Think, feel, act. Everything we can control falls into those three buckets. And those are three freedoms we will never, ever, ever be deprived of. Those will always be in our control. And if we accept that, we'll never be victim ever. The second we give them up, which is when we choose not to be in control, we become a victim. But that's a choice. We volunteered to be that victim. Now, once that list is done, go back and ask yourself, it's in my control, but am I going to do anything about it? Yes or no? Be honest with yourself. This is really, really important. If the answer is no, move it over to the right. Because everything that's on the right, things that were outside of our control or things that we're not going to control, that they're not going to do anything with, we have to appreciate that if we worry about them, if we focus on that, we put any energy, any effort, any emotional currency into it, we're creating a treason on ourselves. When we try to control something that we can't control, this shit over here, it immediately has an internal conflict that dumps back stress, anxiety, and fear. And then it starts that whole sympathetic nervous system off, and we're fighting a grizzly bear that ain't there. Let's give ourselves a freaking opportunity here to move forward. Now, and I saw Amy nod her head when I said this, right? This is important. When we come back and we focus on things that are in our control, we can't change the events that are going on around us on the outside, the externals. But we can control how we feel, think, and act around them, which means we can control not how we react to them, how we respond to them. And this is getting out of the reactionary mode, which means event, triggered emotion, triggered thought, action, right? And that's how, quite honestly, a dog operates. You think a dog strategizes whether or not it should bite your hand off when you put it down? No, right? It just, you triggered an emotion to it. And if that kind of dog's biting your hand, we're bigger than that. And our human magic is our ability to think about what we're thinking about at any given time and decide if that thought is in alignment with the results that we want. And if it's not, we can think a different thought.
Hey, I want to add to that. Hey, after you round that off, I just want to add. I want to add to that. So when you're done, I have an exercise that I did from what exactly you talked to me about. I was writing down feverishly about, to bring it back in a context of real estate, which was freaking phenomenal. I talked to Tim Rosenthal the other day, and he went through the same exercise, and it was a light bulb just went off.
This becomes a map, and you apply to every single thing. You apply it to your physical body right now, apply it to your household, what's going on at home, apply it to your business, apply it to your team. It's applied uniquely in all the different areas, right? And now when we come back, we realize that, no, we are in control. And guess what? Once we realize we can control this, no longer is it unpredictable, no longer is it uncertain, and no longer does it have this extended period of time, this chronic element to it. So the fear dissipates, and we start gaining control in the space we're on. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I want to add to that. So, and I did this exercise, you take a piece of paper, because the uncontrollables are, you feel anxiety, stress, fear, and people freeze. Let's call it what it is. So we're in the real estate industry. A good example of this is, lending, right? Hard money lenders, they're drying up, right? Is that uncontrollable right now? Yeah, they're freezing. Some of them are freezing lending. Well, what is the controllable on that, right? The controllable on that is getting off your ass, going on either LinkedIn, Facebook, posting ads to find out who the cash buyers are today. And I know I'm lumping it in. And then when you get those cash buyers, because not everyone's a cash buyer, ask them where they're getting their money. Either they have money themselves or they have private money lending. So what you're doing is you're almost cross-navigating it. So lending, you want to know who has the money. I'll tell you who has the money. I'll give you a perfect example. Out of the woodwork, individuals that are getting older in age. My mother-in-law is a perfect example. She just called my wife the other day and said, you know what? If you guys have any opportunities, I have a home equity line of credit on my house, and I pulled all my money out of the market. Well, guess what? The individuals, and she's getting ready to retire. So now they're saving their money. They don't want to lose their money in the market. I mean, I lost a shit ton of money in the market. You both probably lost a lot of money too. I pulled it off, obviously. Before then, I actually pulled it out when we lost probably about 15% as a family. It is what it is. But people looking for money are individuals like my in-laws that are pulling their money to preserve their wealth. She called us up. We have a deal. She's lending on an $80,000 deal, 10% interest. Guess what? We got money. It's our opportunities to get off of our butts and go find it. LinkedIn's a great opportunity. Our sphere of influence, anyone who is getting a little older in population is a great opportunity because a lot of them already pulled their money out of the market. They need to do something. They need to make money. So I used Pat's example as a perfect example of how to look at an uncontrollable. Another one we talked about, Pat, our jobs are being lost. Can you control that? Right? You can't. So Pat and I went through this exercise. He goes, you know what? He goes, and I didn't know where Pat was going with this, but he went through this exercise. He goes, all right, jobs are being lost. He goes, Bob, start thinking. Jobs are being lost. What does that mean? I said, all right, Pat, people are at home. I said, yep. Or he said, yep. He goes, what else? Well, that means we have to start putting our marketing minds on. If people are at home, that means they're accepting direct mail, they're accepting phone calls, they're accepting text messages. So that means your response rates, meaning people picking up the phone, should go through the friggin' roof, right? So that's a great way to do it. I went through, do you guys have any other examples you want to add to this? I think it's a tangible add.
I was going to say, so online search traffic right now is up 300%. 300%. Buyers who already search for homes online, 97% of buyers find the home they want to look at before they call an agent, okay? And then 80% of that pool that calls an agent, they're ready to buy, right? So of that pool, that search traffic is up double. And you have people, the connect rate for cold calling right now, we're seeing crazy spikes, and our landline pickups, mobile pickups usually are still pretty good and staying about the same. They're a little higher, but our landline pickups are through the roof. And it's because people are home and they're bored and they're looking for somebody to talk to, honestly. So we generated, probably double our normal rate in leads just in the last, since March 24th, I started doing some metrics last night. And a lot of it's just that they're home, they're wanting to engage. So right now, if you're not taking advantage of that particular element where you are somebody with a service and a solution, there's a need, you have a solution, and you're not putting that in front of as many people as possible to pack your pipeline, you're missing out right now on where you could be 30, 60, 90 days from now with people ready to close on property. Like whether you're on the listing side as a broker or on the investing side, it's really both.
Yep, I love it. And Pat, thank you for that exercise, because your explanation actually brought it home in reference to uncontrollables and controllables. I highly recommend everybody does. Doesn't matter if you're an Airbnb, et cetera, et cetera. The thing we talked about with Tim yesterday was he has Airbnbs in Buffalo. Well, guess what? That's an uncontrollable. The controllable is, guess what? People need to leave New York City. So now he's marketing to individuals moving to or leaving New York City to rent his property. He just got one of them filled. That is now a controllable. That's a great way to think by Tim.
I want to jump in and say something about that uncontrollable, the fear thing. One of the things we're having to, or not having to, but I'm a little militant. People know that about me. And so we have a lot of people who are in that fear mode. They're complaining, they're whining, they're saying, it's a constant, it's almost like their internal programming is going to the negative immediately. And so they're framing everything as it's woe is me, the sky is falling, everything's done. Right. So, wholesalers, there's no buyers in the market, or there's no lending in the market. No, good old school real estate means that you get resourceful and you find the solution for what you need. If there's a need for it, you find a solution that matches it. That's what good old school business is, period. So if you're spending all your energy on there's just nobody out there that's going to buy a deal right now, you're missing out on the thousands and thousands of people who have lots and lots of liquid capital who do want to buy right now, and or the lenders that are funding right now. So you have to reframe it, and I think a lot of people just kind of get into that circle in their head and they don't do that. So that's one of my big things right now is we do our daily calls. I make our team get on the phone at 8 a.m. every morning. I haven't failed, and it's Monday through Saturday. We do it on Saturday too. Like, I'm not letting them wear their PJs at 3:00 in the afternoon. It just doesn't happen around here. It'd be cute, but no.
Amy, that's a great transition right there, because what I want to do is just transition from, we talked about uncertainty. Pat created an incredible exercise that everyone, if you take anything out of this call, that is gold right there. But let's transition that into some challenges that investors, agents, the real estate professionals are either having. And if we could give some, solutions to those challenges, because like we said, we wanted to get on this call and talk a little bit about uncertainty, but also give some action items so we get off this call and hit the ground running. So Amy, could you give us, I'll go to you first to talk on, put your agent hat on. I know you flip properties and you're an investor as well, but if you could put your agent hat on, what are agents feeling right now in reference to the challenges and uncertainty right now that you're dealing with?
I think the biggest questions we're getting on are not knowing, again, an uncontrollable thing. They don't know where the market's going in pricing, right? So a lot of hesitation. Well, if that's a belief issue you have and a hesitation you have, it's very hard to frame confidence to a seller on a listing appointment, or even a motivated seller if you're a wholesaler or acquisitions guy for a company, right? So That's one of the biggest concerns. Another big concern I'm hearing a lot of is lending, right? We're going to go back to lending again, that your traditional sources for lending are getting tighter. Jumbo loans are going away. Credit score requirements are going up. They want, less, the risk tolerance is, it's gotten tighter. And so the lenders are wanting to have larger margins. They're wanting to protect themselves. That's a natural shrinking for having a market impact that we just had. This is normal. This is a normal thing. If you don't look at it as a woe is me thing, and instead look at it as, okay, this is just simple economics 101. We took this in college. This happens, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens. Well, agents are freaking out about it right now. Like, there's just no money. There's no money. Well, there is, but you have to, again, get resourceful for that. And then I think the other thing is not so much a panic, but everybody's having to adjust the way they normally do things. Pat said that, you said that so clearly. We have like habits. Right, and so we've been in an easy market, so we've gotten complacent and comfortable with just being able to do things a certain way, and it worked. It doesn't work right now. The majority of everything that we were doing, this normal, right now, you got to get creative and resourceful, or you're going to have a problem, whether it comes down to understanding how to virtually sell homes, or how to show properties when we have issues like, we have right now. We just got done having a legal team write up, hold harmless for showing properties, so that, because people, buyers and sellers and everybody's worried about that. So it's just, this is a new way of doing things, which change is never comfortable. It's not meant to be, right? But you have amazing opportunities to learn to do things and adapt new tools to your arsenal that will win for you for years to come. And that's really what this is doing right now. Answer that or not?
Yeah, no, I love it. So, some of the ideas too, if you're an agent and where the properties are selling, if the properties that are selling are within FHA limits, and FHA is always going to lend money, then what would be the pivot? Amy.
Right. Well, you know that what your FHA loan limits are where you are. And by the way, the rates, we just had one of our lenders quote like 2.25% on an FHA. It's crazy. So that's available. So right, you're going to go and target a farm or target an area or list or whatever, how is it you're marketing right now? Or if you're marketing on Facebook, which right now the ad spend is crazy. You can get so much reach on platforms like Facebook. They've lowered the ad spend so low that if you're not geo-targeting certain areas with easy landing pages and squeeze pages to send people to find out what their home is worth right now, or to get a market report for their neighborhood right now, or to search for homes right now, you are totally missing the boat. Everybody on this call, write that down. Go do it tonight. But if you know that, again, you have a solution for find the need that matches the solution, right? That's a big part of that. Obviously, on the luxury end, well, if those of you that play on the higher end and there's not a lot of jumbo loan product, well, guess what? There are lenders that are still lending that don't sell their notes to the secondary market. So go find out who those lenders are, and again, match the need to solution. And now that means that when you market the property, you're marketing to buyers that they have to pre-qualify with the lender of the seller's required, or asked to, because the seller's done the job because you've helped them to find the lender that can match their property. This is just a simple business thing. Need solution, put them together.
And it's a way to pivot too. Guess what? If there's not money for these upper properties, then pivot to area where there are buyers. And list those properties and market to them.
Yes, in fact, we the list that we're calling right now. We actually we use ABM as one of our data points for how we pull the lists, and we lowered our ABM. So I don't really trust an ABM value, everyone knows that, but we lowered it again for that reason. If we're going to pull listings in, we have two different pockets we're looking for. We want to keep that down.
And then one other one on open houses, right? You got individuals. I got a pretty interesting stat the other day, but individuals are afraid now to go to open houses because they don't want to get sick. So what would you say as a remedy for that?
So it's not even just that whole I'm afraid to get sick thing. In some markets, we are not an essential business, quote unquote. In other markets where we are an essential business because they're simply laying back on the federal guidelines for what that is, the CISA guidelines, then we can still do them, but it's still a violation of most local ordinances to have a gathering of people, right? So if you're trying to promote an open house like we all normally do it, where we do a small window and lots of marketing to pack the house, and I used to do bikini models on the corner, y'all know that. I was just pack the house. I only needed one buyer, right? But I needed 100 bodies. So that same type of thing that's traditional. That's the way we've done that, right? We can't do that right now. So yeah, you've got to adapt. And this goes to my wholesalers that are trying to sell their deals, my agents that have properties to list and sell on retail side. You've got to pull out that technology. Get used to doing video. If you're not already doing video marketing, you're behind the times anyway. You need to be out there doing everything you can to virtually promote your properties. So walkthroughs, 3D Matterport type scenarios, if you can get drone footage done for you, all of those things are things you should be deploying, adding those to your marketing checklist, so that buyers have an opportunity to feel and emotionally connect with the space without actually being there. We're also encouraging our folks, put a sign out in the front yard. Buyers are still driving around, even if they shouldn't be. They are. And so if you put a QR tag or a dedicated website for a property where they can immediately feel that house, even though they can't walk inside it as easily as they could before, those are the types of things you better be deploying. Don't just say, oh, again, woe is me, I can't have an open house because I can't, so therefore I won't, and therefore I can't sell the property. No, you got to go find the solutions.
And the interesting stat, I think Pat and I were on the same mastermind call yesterday, but in the industry, there was the same question about flippers. They said, all right, what properties are actually selling? These are rehab properties. And it's actually the ones that are vacant because feeling that, they can walk into a house without getting sick. And and again, that's a solution to one of the challenges. And Pat and I talked for about 20 minutes on that fact yesterday. So Pat, you want to add to that?
On why we should be targeting vacant houses? Yeah, target vacant houses. No, but
I'm talking about the sales side. So we're talking about agents right now. So if you're an agent, you're representing a rehabber. And here's the bottom line. Or if you're representing a property that is vacant, those properties are selling. This is when I'm talking about solutions you're control of or uncontrol of, and how people are viewing vacant houses rather than houses with people in them.
Yeah, and no doubt, vacant houses are either sell. But let me take a step back because I want to tag on something that Amy said here, right? Particularly when you have that negative, feeling coming, no house or selling, there's no buyers and all that kind of stuff. It's important when we're in that state to go look at the facts, to go look at the numbers. And in most markets everywhere, we have the same thing, an undersupply of properties and an over number of houses that are still closing. So let's take our emotion back out of this shit for a second. Stop going, but everybody's like, oh, you got to go with your gut. No bullshit. Your gut usually steers you down a path that's got a dead end somewhere, right? Pull it back a notch here and look at the real numbers of what's going on. And now you can say, well, that house is different than, no, time out. Now you're falling back to being a victim to the circumstance. Other people are making a business work. So start with, there's a formula out there that works. I've got to keep trying to figure this shit out. It's a different stance than, does it work? You guys following me on this? And I talk to a lot of investors across the nation, and fundamentally, there's little pockets that are different. I understand that. Fundamentally, the same problem. There are more people than there are properties.
Yeah.
Fundamentally undersupplied. Add to that there's a lot of sellers right now that want to sell their house but are afraid. We'll bring back emotion here for a sec. Afraid to bring their house to market, right? And I just want to comment on that on the listing side because I'm not an agent, but my wife is, and I deal with their brokerage. So I get a little insight in there too, right? But the fact of the matter is, there ain't enough houses. There's plenty of buyers. And
right. We're in the seller's market still.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem, we get the two questions we got to ask every single morning, every single day, right, is this. Number one, what are the new problems that my clients have today? Number two, how do I solve them? That's it. That's our new job. What are the problems? How do I solve them? You do that, you'll come through this freaking amazing shape. If we cower to them and say, nope, that's a problem, it can't be solved, we're dead in the water. Bob, you asked me to talk about this. I got to bring this up, right? Well, no, I use this wave analogy, right? There's three swimmers in the water, and out of the blue, this big monstrous wave starts coming in. Right, and there's three different typical responses to this. First dude freaks out, freezes. Fear, panic, anxiety, wave drives him into the beach, crushes him, he dies, right?
I've been there.
Yeah, right? Second one, fights not to lose. And there's a difference between fighting not to lose and fighting to win. And he's, well, I'm just going to drop to the bottom here, try to swim under this thing and hope for the best, right? That's fighting not to lose. In a fighting cage, that's covering up and blocking punches, right? Guess what? Inevitably, one of those punches is going to get through. You can get by with that strategy a couple times, but a punch is going to get through. The third dude says, wow, that's the most magnificent wave I've ever seen. I'm riding this bitch to the shore and have the best ride ever, right? That's the only acceptable mindset here.
Yeah.
We have no other choice.
No other choice.
Except, and and I don't want this point confused, right? I'm not talking about a false optimism or a false positive, right? Because that's kind of a bullshit position too. And that's actually for a leader, for an influencer, for any of us, that's the worst position we can take. Because when you say, oh, don't worry, Amy, don't worry, Bob, we got this. This will all be done by June 1st, right? Everybody looking at us is like, you're high.
Yeah.
Shit, you're lying to us, but you're not telling the truth. And your authority will, boom, crash. So our job now is to accept our reality, as brutal as it might be, right? Don't make it any better than it is. Don't make it any worse than it is. Accept it for what it is, because at that point, we can take it on. So we'll go back to houses selling or not selling. Guess what? Look in your MLS. Use the facts right now to support your position here. And look, houses are still selling. The number of houses that are pending under contract versus those that are being brought to market is disproportionate. Not enough are being brought to market. Your argument that there's not enough buyers is wrong. It's dead wrong. Go out and right now money is flowing, right? Find a way to get your hands on it.
We had our team send out like some market stats, like as a social media post this week. Like I had them do it. I challenged them. Go share some market information. I can't tell you how many team members generated leads from doing that. Like people were craving answers right now. We're actually craving some gritty truth. Like we really want to know, really, what is it? I mean, I'm a daily preacher to my team about don't be remiss about what's actually going to be coming and really talking about what 6, 9, 12, 18, 24 months looks like, because we've been through a correction before. But, in the meantime, you have real data, and people respond well to real data, even if it's not fluffy and it looks great. They just want real data. And so my team did that. They shared just some gritty, real stuff, and I can't tell you, it's been amazing.
That's awesome.
Amy, I got to add to that too. So if you put your real estate investor hat on, right, whether you're a wholesaler or a rehabber or whatever, some of the common themes that you see are, all right, where are the cash buyers? Because we always talk about cash buyers, cash buyers, cash buyers. Well, what are we doing? There's a lot of systems out there that offer cash buyers. Let's call it what it is, right? Whether it's a system like RealFlow, whether it's another system out there that offers cash buyers. We did a very simple Facebook post on a closed Facebook group here in Connecticut. Pat, you probably know, cash buyers alert, 6 units, north end of Hartford. And we actually put on there, add yourself to our buyers list, and created a Google form that went into a Google sheet. We got over 80 buyers that we put on our buyers list. Now we're going through each one of them and calling them to see if they actually have friggin' money. But what a great little hack to be able to do for everyone. Everyone could do that, because if you're looking for money, go to every single one of your local groups and do that one thing. You could also use LinkedIn. I don't know, just something to look at.
And we have a virtual assistant who is helping us do that, right? Like it doesn't have to be me. So we're doing that, and we're expanding it. We're doing it more than we were, right? So we've got people helping. I've got virtual assistants who literally avatar for me, and they're going in and they're connecting with more and more and more and more individuals.
Hold on one sec, because there's a couple that are asking for a little more. So do this, Bob. Can you repeat your kind of little hack there? And then Amy, can you bump in how the virtual assistant fits into the model?
Okay.
All right, so go on to any closed Facebook group that you have, real estate investor, real estate agent, doesn't matter, right? Just a real estate group. And then what you do is you post, and this, I'll give you the exact ad, cash buyers alert. And I learned this from somebody. I didn't make this up, just so we're really transparent. I did not make this up. Amy's a marketer, I implement, right? Cash buyers, and then we put cash buyers alert, 6 units, Hartford, north end of Hartford, or Hartford, and then because it says Hartford, it says north end of Hartford available. And then inside the actual the body of it, it says add yourself to the cash buyers list here. And it's actually a Google form. I'm looking at it right now, so I just took a screenshot. It's a Google form that goes into one of your Google Sheets. Now, when that lead comes in, what Amy's saying is, our virtual assistants, because Amy and I do a lot of work together on the investment side as well, that But we have a virtual assistant now outbound dial to those cash buyers to really vet them to see if they are true cash buyers. We give them a script, they follow it to vet them.
And to take it a step further, we have another campaign. So to what Pat was saying on the virtual assistant. So the virtual assistants are helping with the follow-up calls and screening the buyers. And they're just using a script that we provide them, right? It's no different than the script we all use when we vet our buyers. It's the same process. But we're also having the virtual assistants go into these groups and connect directly with people when they see their activity. So for instance, we did a search. We have a property that we're looking for a property in a certain area. We're looking for property and buyers. So one of the things that we did was we went in and searched on the search box in groups for anybody that ever put that zip code or that city name into that group. Went and found all those old posts, and the virtual assistant is doing this, found every old post and then reached out to them one by one and in messages and or commented on the post saying, hey, I saw that you were looking to buy a property in this zip code a year ago. Are you still looking for properties, right? Amazing way to find buyers specific to a zip code or city. And notice a virtual assistant can do that for me. I don't have to sit there and do that all day myself. I have bigger rocks in my business I have to focus on, especially right now. But I still need to build that buyer's list. So if I were to bring in a property in a zip code, like, say I brought in one in 30311, those of you that are here in Atlanta know exactly where that is. And let's say I don't have enough buyers in that zip code. There's so much traffic in online groups and REVA groups here in the Atlanta market. I could easily bring in an extra 100 buyers just by doing what I just said using a virtual assistant.
Hey, Ames, Barbara's asking, do you guys use VAs to do any of the outbound calls to the sellers?
Absolutely. And so, in fact, boy, Bob, we've got some statistics. Me personally, let me just talk micro for a minute, and then we'll give you some macro numbers. Micro, I personally, for our team, we call in volume, right? So we are calling all types of lists, cold call, our reps contact, do all the hard work. So we're not dealing with wrong numbers, voicemails, and non-working numbers. The reps, my virtual assistants, are cold calling. They're getting a hold of the homeowner and they're surveying their level of interest in receiving an offer on their property. Our team gets the leads when they're warm, meaning that we've contacted the homeowner, we've connected with them, and they've said, yeah, I'd be interested in looking at an offer. And then our team here is able to take it next. And then depending on where it goes, whether it gets listed, it gets under contract, or it gets back into the follow-up pool, and then we have virtual assistants that are doing all the follow-up calls for consistently until the end of time, or people in my team know until we get a restraining order. We keep calling them, right? But it's all virtually assistant supported. So yeah.
Sure. And Amy, I just want to add to that, and I see my man Adam's here. Adam, what's up, brother? So Adam's one of my business partners here in Connecticut. He's actually the actual acquisition guy that gets those leads from our VA. So Adam said, yo, what's up? I just had to give him a quick shout out.
Hey, Adam.
And Barbara also did, I think we answered your question there, Barbara, as well. It says,
we've got some stats though, Bob, on like for calling and volume for a lot of our clients, because we're doing this for clients all over the country right now. And what we've found is that our volume, like hardcore clients, brokers, and investors, they are giving us more leads to call now than they were. Like they're not shrinking back; they're expanding. They're sending us even more records. So you've got some stats on that, don't you?
Yeah. So just within the month of March, right? So our response rate used to be, which means just to say what our response rate was when somebody picks up the phone, answers the phone, accepts our call. We typically call that connect rate, but we'll call it response rate here. Amy, if I'm explaining it, correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously I use jargon a lot, which is maybe some people don't understand what that is. But it used to be around 20.
An operations guy. That's all. That's what we got.
It used to be around 22%. It jumped up in March to 28.83%, right? And cell phones are around 58%. And the landlines jumped up as well because obviously people are home, right? So those are some good numbers to have. And the percent of people that want an offer went up to over 3%, right? So just to give you some context of those numbers, it's really important for everyone to look at these numbers and say, hey, is it worthy of me cold calling, right? I do it. Absolutely. I mean, so Amy, you sent me a screenshot. I can't remember the guy's names. I do apologize. I would give him a shout out, but he made a crap ton of money on, you know his name, I don't know if you want to share his name, but he sent a picture with a COVID mask on.
Yeah.
And he showed how much money he actually spent in cold calling and how much money he made.
And so a lot of you follow this gentleman. I don't know if I'll throw his name on here or not. I did send that to you, and it maybe take me a minute to find it. Honestly, when we send out the replay, I may just kick over the numbers for you guys, but it was crazy. Did I text that to you? I did. Let me find it that way. So there's just so much to be gained by cold calling right now from a cost per acquisition, and I hope that all of you guys are tracking that, right? I know personally that's one of our favorite lead funnels, to be quite honest. And you threw me for a loop here. Talk for a second. I'll see if I can't find it.
It's something ridiculous. You spent over 78. I think I'm almost accurate in these numbers. Spent over $78,000 on cold calling. Is made over $400,000. That's around what it is. I think it's more than that, but it's freaking ridiculous.
Oh, here it is. I found it. Okay, so quarter one, and we don't know if this is real. I mean, people post whatever they're going to post online. Perception's production, right? But did 50 deals. Total revenue $880,000. Average deal size $18,000. Total cost to do all that $135,000. So it was an 8.10 times cold calling ROI on his cash invested. So total cold calling revenue, net revenue $708,000.
Yeah, that's Brandon goes, I'm not great at math, but that sounds like a solid return on investment. Yeah. I love these comments. Thanks, guys.
And for those of you that are both sides of the coin like I am, when we're calling sellers, there's a sellers, right? And so oftentimes, if they're not interested in selling the property as an investment property, they still are interested to sell. And so that leads to a listing pipeline. So those of you that have an avenue to even do referrals of those, that's something you should be considering right now. Build a team, bring on a licensed agent on your team, and have them work those traditional ones as well.
I think team is extremely important. I mean, we took a step back. Adam and I just became business partners about 2 months ago on the real estate side. But right now, I'll tell you, is the most phenomenal time to really start building your team. We just added in 2 acquisition guys and a dispo guy right now in this time.
Okay, right. Wait, did everybody hear that? I think that's what is so impactful. You're doing that now in the middle of this uncontrollable, crazy events. You are taking control of something you can control, which is empirically that you can put leads in the system, call them, cold call them, follow up with them, generate buyers. You have all of these empirical things that you can go do. And so why not bring on more team members right now? Because you have a controllable process and controllable results that you can measure off of. It would be insane not to move forward. And that's kind of why I was hoping to gather us all together to do this call. If you're not just measuring those things that are literal right now that you can put into play, then you're missing out. Start doing them now. I mean, this is powerful.
Great. And another shout out to Jesse, who's one of our acquisition team members. I forgot the name of Jesse. But anyway, Barbara asked, what is dispo, guys? Sorry. Someone on the wholesale side that takes care of disposition, selling the properties. So that's what dispo is. Again, sorry about that. My jargon, really do apologize on that one. This is a great one. This is from Grace. This mindset change was exactly what I needed to hear. Appreciate the control exercise. So Pat, thank you for doing that. I told you, Pat's got an uncanny ability to break things down into the simplest form and for us to see these things. So thank you, Pat, dude.
Let me respond to another comment here from Barbara saying, trying to fix my team, right? And I'm going to share this in a little different context because I said at the beginning, man, we're not responsible for the way people think, nor can we try to change that, but we can give them tools that we're aware of, skills we have, so that they can choose to control their shit on their own, right? And that's the truth of it. But this is the difference, right? We're not telling them what to think. We're teaching them how to think. The complete different context. Barbara, for your team right now, the single biggest thing you can do right now for them is give them a little level of confidence that we're all going to be okay. That's it. Let them know that you got their back. Let them know that we'll get through this. You don't know when, you don't know how, but we'll get to the other side of it. Right now, our job is to focus on what is exactly in front of us in a moment. But every day, and you got to bring this to them every single day. Reinstill this confidence that things are going to be okay. I'll share you guys a really quick story because I know we're going to run out of time here soon, right? When my son graduated high school, He was supposed to go off and wrestle at a college up at Plymouth College up in New Hampshire. And last minute, this is like in the middle of end of July, he decided he didn't want to go. He wanted to go out west on his own, be by himself, right? Now, no one in his pack had left for school yet. Picture these are all 18-year-old kids, and he's on a wrestling team, so they're close, right? And we had pictured a departure date, and it was about 1 week after he made the decision. So this is really quick. So picture the scene. Everybody's at my house, all his best friends that he's grown up the last 8 years with. Some of their parents, because they're good friends of ours through the wrestling, family type thing. And it was a very emotional moment. You see these grown kids at this point hugging it out and tearing up and trying to hold it in, the moms are tearing, right? And there was a moment when Patrick looked up at me while I was embraced with one of his buddies. He looked up and we made eye contact. The one thing he needed in that moment was to know that things are going to be okay. And our job is to be there for them at that moment. And right now, when it's this dynamic, that's every morning. Now, make no mistake, we're no different. And I want to share a morning exercise with you guys. So somebody asked me this earlier today, but how are you like always on it? And I'm like, well, that's the thing. I'm not. And I wake up sometimes just like you do, in a shitty mood, with an attitude, a little worried, in complete chaos. But particularly now, I do not let anything enter this realm until I go through this very simple exercise, right? And the exercise is this, man. I build myself up in the morning. I remind myself that yesterday may have been tough, but today is going to be tougher. Yesterday was challenging. Today is going to be a bigger day. You have no idea what's coming your way, but you are absolutely capable of handling, and the things that you're about to deal with would not be given to you if you weren't big enough to handle them. I put on my Iron Man suit in the morning, and I call it win in the morning so you can win the day. Now, goes past that though. It's not just about you, and this is the part we have to embrace. It's those who look up to you, that listen to you, that pay attention to you, because you're going to resonate on them. When you step down, they step down. When you step up, you draw them up. When you elevate them, you cannot not be on that same elevator at the same time. That's why our investment in elevating those around us is how we elevate ourselves. This isn't motivational bullshit or anything like that. It's giving them the tools to step into the shoes that they're capable of. That's it. When we create an expectation of one of our subordinates above the expectation they have of themselves, they are obligated to fill that space, to get drawn up into that vacuum. But it starts here. And that's why I feel it's such a responsibility not to leave my space until I am fully prepared. And I picture myself Iron Man, like be able to shoot shit out of every hand, Iron Man. I can fly anywhere as quick as I want. Strong and invincible, for the sole reason to elevate those around me, take care of my people. Because I know if those two things happen, we're good. We may still get bloody through this, but we'll be good.
Pat, I just want to add to that for 2 seconds. I look at, everyone that jumped on this call as a leader. We're a leader somewhere. So we got to make sure that we actually lead the individuals, whether it's ourselves through this time, it's our spouses, it's our kids, whatever. We have an obligation to them to no matter what make it, right? So getting on this call is extremely important. And I'm going to anchor back to, you need individuals like everybody on this call, right? I'm fortunate I have you, Pat. Amy, I'm fortunate I have you. I highly recommend we all get somebody, right, just like that. Is that my mother-in-law, Deborah Raboyne, who just posted? Is that you, Debbie? Love it. This is going all over the place. I love it. So anyway, I just want to say that, Pat, and Amy, in reference to that side of it. We do have some questions. Pat, are you seeing all these questions? Let me see. Okay. All right. I really appreciate the substance of this call's tools and vision. I was on a call yesterday, and the entire call just led to a pitch to a product. Well, if you've known me, I can't pitch for shit. Come on, Amy. I used to sell on stage. Come on.
I know, but before you would go sell on stage, I had to go in the lobby of the hotel and pace with you to go through the presentation.
You want to know another person that can't pitch? My boy Pat Precourt. He's incredible, but he's an implement. He's absolutely incredible with delivering anything. But Pat, I love you, so we can both say that. We actually have we talks offside. We're like, dude, man, I wish I was born a salesperson, but you get what you get, and we just love delivering content. It is what it is. Yeah. Let me see here. How do you guys continue to motivate yourself? We got that was Malhar. Hey, nice, Mohan. What's up, brother? Let me see. Anything else that I missed on the side, or let's keep rolling. All right, let's wind this down. Let's talk about some I don't know, some strategic and tactical moves for real estate. Amy, you got any strategic and tactical moves while we wind this down?
I think if I give some 10,000 foot ones, right? Number one, we've said it in several different ways. Get up and stay active. You couldn't have a better time right now than to indelibly impression your brands upon your database, your farm, and the market than you could right now. People are looking for somebody who's committed and resilient, who has answers and solutions. And if you're being that voice right now while your competition is shrinking back and being quiet and wearing their Mickey pajamas at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then you have a chance to indelibly impression upon people your commitment to this industry. So when they're ready for a solution, you are the ones that they think of. So I've been saying that to my team every day for the last 3 weeks. It's, this is the time to get louder, to be more expansive in your message, and to be available and present. No, I don't mean be out there and be fluffy. I mean be present. So that's my number one tactical thing to everyone. And it doesn't sound like that's some, oh, I got to listen to a webinar to learn that. But the unfortunate thing is that I'm watching 9 out of 10 people not do that. It's probably worse than that statistically. So that's my number one. My number two would be, we've said it a few times, this is the time to be packing your pipeline. So that first tactical move leads to my number two tactical move, which is do not slow down on your lead generation. I've watched through a couple different shifts in the market where that's what everybody does. You just let your pipeline die. That big stone, that mossy stone, trying to push it up a hill is difficult. If you've already got the stone rolling, guys, keep it rolling. Don't let it roll back down on you. It's going to be really, really hard to get it going again. So don't allow that to happen. And then anything you can do to be working on systems and processes right now to make them more efficient, to make them more cost efficient, that you can start outsourcing processes. One of the things I'm doing more than I've ever done before is everything that I look at, I say, not how is that going to be done, but who, right? Who can I have do that virtually? How can I support that? How can I outsource that? I'm asking those questions now louder than I ever have, because coming through this, I would love to be even more streamlined than I was going in it. If anything, this has reminded me that I have some things to fix. So why not do those now, right? I think those are my top three, maybe.
Yeah, you have a top three?
No, but
I love it.
I don't always fit in these categories,
Sorry.
I just want to share something with you guys, right? And this goes back to our routines and what we do each day. So we're finding, for some of us, we have more hours in a day than we used to, even though the day keeps repeating like yesterday, right? And for the rest, and for some of us, we're finding that we're super duper busy, right? The thread is this: busy oftentimes can be a distraction to being productive. And I want to separate the two here, right? Being productive is defined by, at the end of the day, can you measure progress towards your desired results? Yes or no? And this is very black and white. No bullshit here, right? Busy is how we distract ourselves from dealing with all the crap in our lives. We just get busy. We all got plenty of stuff to be busy on, but it allows us not to focus, just disappear, daydream and wander off, but somehow feel good that we did something. Like we didn't just sit on our ass all day. Truth is, it's worse than that because it distracts us from our reality. Right? So just know the difference between those two. And the second here, and this one's super duper important, man, the absolute worst thing you can ever do in this moment is to stand still. And I call it the plunge. And there's about, I don't know if you remember this book. I know I made you read this a long time ago. There's a little book you can find it on Amazon, written by Julian Smith. It's Julian something. It's called Flinch.
Oh.
And it's one of my favorite all-time books, about 100 pages long, which is one reason why.
That's why you love it. 100 pages.
Books, okay? But the beauty about some author who writes a 100-page book means he said all the same shit, but did it really efficiently, right? But the premise of the book is this: opportunities are around us all the time, right? But our default, an opportunity is defined by something new and different, right? Our default position in new and different is fear, so we step back. And he uses the analogy in the boxing world. And a professional boxer, right? If you throw a jab at a professional boxer, he's going to react differently than just a regular person off the street. You throw a jab at a person off the street, they're going to go like this, right? And they're going to step back, and effectively, they're going to put themselves in range of a cross. at the very end of a big long punch is going to knock him out. Professional boxer, totally different. When he sees that jab comes in, he'll rotate his hips, he'll dip into it, right? Maybe parry it a little. And what that's done, right, is he missed this, but it put him in full position to come back, knock this guy out. Put him in a position to take advantage of the opportunity. When we flinch, let that fear come first, this is gone. And the beauty of opportunity is they're come and go in a split second. So I want you guys to remember that over this next 30, 60 days. I told you, decisions we make over this time are going to change the trajectory we're on in our entire life. So look at this like this, right? Because someone like, well, what if I make the wrong decision? What if I just go for it? Look at it this way. Let me ask you, I'll ask you guys this, right? You ever go use a GPS to get somewhere, right? Say to someplace somewhere, and then you don't know how to leave. So you turn your GPS back on, you put your home address, and you're sitting in a parking lot waiting for it to tell you to go left or go right. And the truth is, it ain't telling you shit, right? Because you're not moving. It can't see you. Such is the universe. It can't give us insight, corrective, specific instruction until we take an action. The moment we move that car out, GPS finds us, we take a left, and says, dumb, should have went right. No big deal, no harm, no loss. We'll take the next right. But it'll put us right back in line. And in life and in the way the universe works, when we take an action, we will get insight, feedback. As long as our eyes are up, our ears are open, we just take that new insight, correct path if we have to, or keep going the way we're going. Don't worry about the mistake. It's through those steps that we're given the exact path to get to where we want to go, that end goal. In action, you're going to get run over. You're going to spend the night in the parking lot.
Love it. That is a great analogy.
Yeah.
And it is 5 o'clock right now, Amy. It's actually 5:06. So I will end it on mine, right? And then I'll ask you guys some parting words, and we'll get done. We got to wrap it up within 4 minutes. Is that okay? We're getting some great feedback here. Hey, you guys should do that again. Jeff goes, I need to start short sales business up again. I made a lot of money off your short selling place. You guys got to do this again. You know, the insanity.
We have to. I mean, those of you that like really remember way back, like Short Sale Daily News and Pre-Foreclosure Daily Grind and Friday Coffee Break and Creative Real Estate Daily. I can keep going. We were content kings for years, so much so that we were like, I got in trouble with Wells Fargo and Equator, if you remember. I got like because I was so loud. They're like, shut up, go away. So I missed that. We've always been all content. We know how much value it brings everyone. I'm kind of operating built by how can I help people rise. That's why our culture phrase is collective rise in our office. So yeah, we'll bring the content. Let's do it.
Awesome. All right. So I will just give mine number one, marketing. So for me on the tactical strategic side, I just want to touch upon marketing because we haven't spent this much money since I was partners with Pat when we did the $5,000. Remember the $5,000 drop? We got like one call with the insert in the newspaper and the rare reminder. No, that's not what we're doing now.
Didn't you frame it? Where is it?
I think we did. I don't know where it is. But anyway, on the marketing side, I got Adam and Jesse's kicking butt on the phone right now. Just give Jesse a little plug. He's a 24-year-old kid who used to be a referee for ice hockey. Now, obviously, sports aren't going on right now. He's looking for something else. Him and Adam are buddies from a while back. He's 24 years old. He got 5 leads today alone that can turn into money. Just today. He literally started this freaking week. So if you can't, add someone to your team, now's the time. So I'm really pumped about that. But on the marketing side, I'll give you some statistics. We already talked about cold calling, and all of our VAs do cold calling. They also do text messaging. We use Launch Control as a text message platform. Someone said, what tools do you use? So I figured I'd let you know that. Our VAs do all of the work where they actually respond. They send, respond, and send it over to warm leads. And here's some of the numbers we have. We sent 40,000 text messages. We had a 24.3% response rate, and 7% of those were labeled warm and hot. So those are some pretty good numbers. Also, I saw Sean labeled here. He said the money's in the follow-up 110%, because you look at all of your old leads, those are still new. We have a virtual assistant go through all of our go through Zillow and do a Zillow and Craigslist ad. That is exactly what these are, leads from last year that Jesse just called on. 2 of those maybe turning them into deals, because we don't quit on all those leads. I know, Amy, you put it a little different way. You call until you get a restraining order on them. We don't call until we get a restraining order on them, but we call until they're actually tell us to shut the, you know what. So anyway.
And that's my point though. So statistically, I mean, a lot of people know this, but like 70%, you'll do 70% more transactions year over year simply by adding a follow-up system,
yep.
Right? I mean, that's just, again, empirical proof. So if you're not doing follow-up on leads, one of the first things I had our team do when this whole thing started, I said, everybody go pull out your databases and start calling all of your database. Just start calling. If you haven't talked to somebody in a year, now's the time to call them, and there's so many leads in there, so much gold hiding in that.
And you know what? It does suck. It's a pain in the butt. It is work. When I first joined Pat, this was back in 2004, he had me door knocking for a year straight. And when I went home, no joke, I went home, he gave me a list. He had me skip trace it and call till 7 o'clock at night. No kidding. I door knocked from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I went home and I skip traced those on 411.com back in the day. And I called every single person, but I would follow up. I was a freaking assassin when it comes to follow up. You know what though? If you do it yourself, you're going to freaking die because it's tiring. So I recommend, hiring someone to do all of that follow up. But it creates a lot of freaking money, man. It does. So I highly recommend doing that. And I will end on that. I know the vast majority of sales happen after 5 to 7 touches. Aaron Morrison, thank you very much. Antonio Patterson, hey, Amy, keep the good information, motivational coming, et cetera, et cetera. Awesome stuff. Great job. Pat, any parting words?
Just, guys, all I wanted to say, we've already said all, but keep moving forward, no matter what it takes. Somebody mentioned, well, how do you self-motivate? Don't worry about being motivated. We're going to have to operate in a state of being unmotivated, okay? Get out of that guru thing, because that forces us to be dependent on something external to us. We got to take this home right now. We're in charge of our outcomes, 3 freedoms that'll never go away, how we think, feel, and act, man, and put them to work.
Yeah. Good. If you have evidential support that going and putting one foot in front of the other will take you somewhere. Yeah. So I need...
That's it. And I'll just say this last thing. I'm using this opportunity as well, not only to really ramp up our real estate side, I'm also taking my real estate license to get licensed again. So take this opportunity. You have extra time. Guess what? Get re-educated, learn something. I know we didn't touch upon owner financing and all, Pat, because we could have touched upon that. It's a great time right now to understand and learn owner financing, because that's a great way to acquire properties and a great way to sell to make a crap ton of freaking money. I know we didn't touch upon that, but that's something I want to end on. Let's all educate ourselves. Let's keep moving forward. Make sure you get your community, your sphere of influence like we have here, and kick ass and keep rocking and rolling. I want to thank everyone for jumping on this call. Appreciate it.
And thank you, Pat and Bob, from my heart. You guys have been my rocks for a long time.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Pat.
Peace, guys.
Thanks, guys.